Yo, yo, yo. Another guitar lesson here, another day, another guitar lesson. So, today we're going to address something I like to really teach. I think there's a lot of people out there that are kind of in that intermediate camp where you've been playing for a while, you're starting to kind of learn some things, just enough to kind of be dangerous. Like you can play some pretty cool stuff, but to get to that next level, so I'm talking more like an intermediate to get more into the advanced and to start to understand exactly what's going on and why are certain players able to, it seems, able to play effortlessly, are able to express themselves. And I'm talking about kind of in an improvisational way, in a jam kind of way. And so this lesson should clear some things up a little bit and just kind of give you at least a little taste of kind of where to go and where to bring your attention. So we're going to take a look at the major pentatonic scale today. So this is the shape. And I'm going to put the shape of what basically an intermediate or a beginner would probably see on the screen here. And then I'm going to put the shape and the information that a more advanced player would see. And if you notice when I put that up there, a couple things. First of all, the scale degrees are there. Now, I'm not necessarily seeing the scale degrees all the time, but I can recall that it's information that will just be kind of available if necessary. In other words, if I'm going to end my phrase on the 5 there, and maybe I'm craving that sound, or maybe I want to get some resolution, but I don't want it to be the 1 total resolution. I might be hunting for like the 3 right there, right? So in other words, I see the pattern like a beginner, but when it's necessary, I see the pattern like an advanced, a professional, right? So the other thing you might notice is the triad. So when I see this pentatonic scale, it's the major pentatonic scale. It's basically synonymous with the triad to me. Now, they're not the same thing, but the triad lives in the pentatonic scale. And this goes same with the minor. It's just a minor triad, but we're just going to focus on the major today. So knowing this is really important because this is going to turn, let's say when I was a beginner and when I was more intermediate in the way I played, it was more like, here's a pattern. These notes sound good. They harmonize together. I don't know how they harmonize together, but they do. And I can just kind of bounce around and explore. It's a very more exploratory phase. You're also just kind of getting your fingers and your technique down. So that is totally appropriate for a certain time and a certain stage of development in your playing. But then you kind of start to sound the same. Things kind of tend to get a little stale and boring. So then you start asking yourself questions like, there's more to this. And so when I see this as a triad, I see the triad as almost like it's the stability. So these are the most stable notes in this key here. When I'm playing over an A major chord, those notes are going to be the most stable. They're going to be great landing spots. So a good exercise would be to play the triad and then play the pentatonic scale. Okay, now maybe do that as a warm-up. Do it over and over again a handful of times. You'll start to see, okay, here's my triad, kind of the backbone of the scale. Now the other notes you can think of as they're not as stable, so you can think of them as unstable, but you can also think of them as tension. So if I want to add a little tension, so here if I solo a little bit with just the triad. So that's just some triad stuff here. Do that one more time. Now if I want to add a little tension, add the 6 and the 2. So that 6 right there, it's not as stable. It wants to go somewhere. And you can go to either the 5 or the 1 to start with. 2. So you can see when I'm beginner, just notes, just pattern. Advanced, professional, context. I understand how to create more tension. You can start telling a story this way, a musical story. Stay in, this is pretty. There we got a little tension there. See, I had built into that. And then resolve it all. So that was just like a little short story I just told. Utilizing resolution, or stable and unstable, however you want to look at it, resolved, tension. And the resolved notes have a different amount of resolution as well. You'll start to hear that. The 3 and the 5 and the 1 all resolve a little differently. The 6 and the 2 create a little bit of different tension. So check that out. I hope this helps. If you have questions about any of this, or if you want me to dive deeper into some of this stuff, I can do this with, there's more shapes. So this is the E shape. We're just studying the E shape right here. But we can do this over other shapes. We can use different chords. We can also start to add notes to this, such as the major scale or just chord extensions in general. So yeah, hit me up in the comments if you have anything in specific you want me to go over. Again, I think I've got a little bit of a pulse on intermediate players moving to advanced ideas, because I have gone through this process. I'm still learning, of course, but I think there's a lot of lessons and stuff on YouTube in general that just kind of skip over. It's more either you're an intermediate player. A lot of the intermediate lessons seem to be, let's learn songs. This is how you play this solo. Not really explaining why it sounds good. Or the advanced lesson seems to just make a lot of assumptions about what you know already and just kind of skipping over stuff that is very important, like seeing the triad within the scale. So important. So I hope this helps. Peace.